Yeah, so I'll just record this. Thank you all for joining in, and thanks to the team from Pearl Academy, who's going to be conducting the session. I think it's a brilliant session that's being conducted. The idea of this session is very specifically um, to understand what happens. How every student should leverage their 4 years in a design school. So there's a lot of things. It doesn't just say, I mean, joining a design school starts off, of course, with it's a good start, right? But in the 4 years, a student can, just go through it, or they can actually leverage the platform that's given. All right. So the two aspects um, that that are going to be spoken about primarily would be, what do design schools provide to enhance student learning experience, right? So every design school gives a platform, and how the student should use that platform is very critical. And the other aspect is what students should do in the 4 years to get the best for themselves, meaning they not only take that platform given, but beyond that platform, there's a lot more that needs to be um, spoken about or experienced. And there are a lot of opportunities that students should look out for in those 4 years. So these are the two aspects that are going to be spoken about in detail by the team from Pearl Academy. Um, so over to you guys. So Lakshmikant is the person who's organized this, so thanks, Lakshmikant. And
Pleasure.
you can take it from here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dion, and thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to go ahead and discuss with your students first thing. Now, I request one of our faculty, Ms. Sandhya Srinivasan, to go ahead and take over the session.
Okay. Hi. Hi guys. So yeah, everything is okay. I hope there is no echo from our end now. All right. So welcome to the very interesting session. We are going to talk about, as the topic says, that we're going to talk about 4 years in design and how can you best utilize the 4 years that you have in a design field, and after you exit the college, how can you kind of maximize your 4 years here in any college, that is. Yeah. So design in itself is a very very interesting and a very very fast paced and a fast paced industry, right? So every day, every few months, there are updates, there are new things happening, there are innovations happening. So you have to make sure, the first things I would say is that you have to always be, there are I think 4 points that I can kind of put forth today. You have to update, you have to innovate, you have to be interactive, and you have to always make sure that you're functional in everything that you do, right? So I think if you kind of take into account these 4 points, I'll quickly kind of reiterate on on each one of them. Updation is extremely important. Why? Because you have to make sure that you are entirely on top of what is happening in innovation, in design, in various fields, be it fashion, be it a product, be it styling, or be it any kind of interior design, be it any field. There are new innovations happening every few months, and every student's responsibility is to be, of course, at the top of his or her game. So which means that you have to make sure that you're always updated, and you're always on top of things, new softwares, new methods. Everything needs to be learned, and everything needs to be also your duty as well, apart from your faculty, to kind of make sure that you're learning the most recent softwares. So one is that. The second, I think, is you have to make sure that you're always innovating, because design is, of course, these innovation and functionality go very very hand in hand, very well hand in hand. So you're innovating, you are making sure that there's something new that you're experiencing, and that you're also kind of um, trying to achieve in the 4 years that you're going to be in college. Your, of course, design is functional, as you guys may know. So which means that you guys in 4 years, what I would feel you have to do is, apart from, of course, it is college life, you should enjoy yourselves. You have to, of course, have fun. You have to also innovate. You have to also get interactive. You have to get to know all the people in the design industry. Apart from doing all of this, you also have to make sure that you are extremely on top of everything. You're innovating new ideas. You are always getting in touch with every single field. I feel really helps, be it music, suppose say you're a fashion designer and you have joined a fashion design school somewhere, and but you like, you don't have to only focus on fashion. It's very important that you have like a all round experience of what is happening in the world. You have to know what is new in music. You have to know what is new in the graphics, world. You have to be aware of what is happening in the interiors or in the architectural world. So I would say in the 4 years, what is also extremely important is that you keep your minds open. You also make sure that you read a lot. You make sure that you have a good, you form a good base of contacts with various people in various fields, so that when you finally graduate after 4 years, you have a great base. You can actually start launch yourself off uh, on the basis of the 4 years that you've learned. So yeah, I would. That is the basis of today's discussion. So I guess I will kind of hand over to Kunal. I think he wants to say something, add to the future of design, and he wanted to talk to you guys about that.
Thanks a lot, Sandhya.
Thanks,
Pretty
Sandhya.
interesting. I think one of the key points you
I'm
mentioned there
hoping
was
I'm
that,
audible. We have to keep our audios low here
yeah,
to benefit the presentation. So, Dion, can you please give me the presentation rights, if that is possible?
yes, yes, done.
I would, yeah, okay, got it. Okay, so before I start showing some of the things, I wanted to say that so thanks to the DQ Labs and the organizing team here, internally also at Pearl Academy, but also with the DQ Labs for interacting with us. These are platforms where we try to interact with students who probably would want to understand what is design and how is this whole fraternity, what's the profession and what's the future of it and all that. And of course, what happens inside a design school is the most important question, and what happens in 4 years. So my name is Kunal Datta. I'm part of the School of Fashion at the Pearl Academy Bangalore campus, and I would want to talk about a little based on what we are looking at in terms of fashion, and what is the kind of, sorry, excuse me, what is the kind of future that a student who is wanting to pursue fashion should look at, and what are the important aspects which they should understand or they should pursue to understand. So if you are watching this, if you want to do some homework on it, these are a few key points which I will give you, right? Sharing my screen. Let me know if you are able to see this. Are we online?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Excuse me.
So
Yes, yes.
this is actually a presentation I did some time back. So you can see it's actually like 2019 is when I did this presentation. And at that point also, there is a future to this whole industry. The fashion industry is not only about clothing, all right? Like we know fashion industry is fashion and textile or whatever, it's not about that material only, right? It is about a different kind of emotion, different kind of creative skills. Okay, so what you see today in the world of design, or what you understand as design today, when some of you will study design and graduate and eventually start working, the whole concept or the whole definition of design will be very different. Okay, so we will have to look at what is the future really. Okay, is this what is the future? What you're seeing here is, I mean, how do we define that? Is it fashion? Is it technology? Is it some sort of a fantasy? Is it science fiction? Is it some sort of emotional aspect of technology? We don't know how to define it, but definitely a very important aspect of this is going to be a part of our future. Maybe not entirely our future, but definitely a part of our future. So many things which we have imagined in the past have come to life. So much of technology which we could only dream of has now become reality. So a lot of design is based and will be based more and more on the understanding of technology. So those of you who are probably escaping the science stream are not going to be able to escape really science or technology as such. Okay, you may not need to do calculations when you study, like, the basics of design, but you will have to eventually understand design from a very scientific and technological perspective, because in today's world, design is no more only something to fantasize about or to look at as an aesthetic thing only, but it is a blend of both. And somewhere this particular, it's an actual cover page of Elle in Brazil, which was published quite some time back. Okay, I mean, this is not now, this is probably 3-4 years ago they published this. And this is a lot of you might know it. This is a humanoid, first humanoid that they developed, and it's got a name. I think it's called Sophia, and she's called Sophia. So there's a gender factor there. There is a emotion part of it. You can also see she's wearing some clothes. She's carrying a clutch. So there is a whole different sort of a lifestyle and world once we start engaging with technology. So there are some directions which a student who is wanting to pursue design, I mean, this is a little more inclined towards fashion, but what are the directions which will happen in the future are some of these, right? So in fashion, of course, there is going to be a technological aspect which will come in, which will start taking care of the world. I'm talking about the left bottom icon here. The fashion integrated with technology will start looking at how to take care of environment, because it is the second most polluting industry in the world after oil, actually. And this is a very big concern. So this is going to be very important for fashion or any other designers to look at. Okay, so definitely looking at how technology will address environment. Okay, the next one on the side of it is real and virtual environments, mixed environments. Okay, so of course, a lot of you might already have engaged in some AR or VR. AR is augmented reality, which is basically when you switch on the camera and you find information in live camera, right? So that's the basic augmented reality. And there are many more things. I mean, there was this game called Pokemon Go and so on, which was actually mixing the real and the virtual things together. And there are some things like this which is still happening on Instagram, on filters, on Snapchat, and so on, right? Similarly, it will start addressing design. A lot of products are now launched as a virtual reality model. Fashion included will be starting to launch as virtual reality model. A very basic element is like when we purchase on Lenskart, these spectacles, so you can put your photograph and like wear it and look at it and see how it looks like. So that's a mix of real and virtual environments. Okay, then design will start protecting the human being, right? Because the more and more closer we go towards a difficult climatic condition, difficult environment, we will need protection. And we are very selfish people, and we are a selfish species, and we want to protect ourselves. And every kind of design will talk about protecting the human species. Okay, so these are interesting details which will come in every sphere of design. It's not only going to be affecting fashion. This is going to happen in different other domains also. Okay, but irrespectively, we will not want to give up our identity. We want to stay with our identity. We want to stay with who we are, culturally, where we are from, our language, our food, our art. We don't want to give up on all of these. So culture will become an integral part of design. So as a designer, as a student of design, you will actually need to understand more of where you're coming from. You cannot ignore that. You cannot look at only a Western culture or a American something or a European something. You will have to look at what is happening in India, what's happening in the cultural sphere of India, what is happening with people here. All right, what is the political scenario, what is the economic scenario, and so many things. But very importantly, culture is going to be very, very important for us to preserve and document. So one more important thing that a student must understand and learn during the 4 years of their time. Okay. Hyperbody is one concept which I'll not kind of get into because it's more like technical, and it is more to do with having a sensorial experience of design. So it's more integrated with technology, more understanding how material and a human being work together, because we are in the business of making things which are tangible, right? So anything that we make, you can touch and feel, see, and so on. So it's very important. Even digital products, we want to literally like touch a digital product. Okay, digital product is not only the peripheral, not only the hardware, but also when you're playing a game, we want it to be so realistic that it really kind of engages us. Okay, so there are multiple things like that. Some other of my colleagues will talk about these aspects. The next thing, as in, if I want to sum up a lot of this broadly, what I would suggest in the 4 years, a student must, and this is what we also really aspire at Pearl to do this, is sensitize or make the student aware of these 4 important pillars. Okay, so pillar 1 is designing for the user, designing for human beings. All of us are designing for the current need. We do not want to start design for a fantasy which is not probable, right? So designing more realistically, designing sustainably. Okay, sustainability is a very, very important aspect in any design profession, in any design school, anywhere in the world currently. Everybody is really trying to understand it and trying to do something about it. So if you really want to be a successful designer, if you want to be a good design student, sustainability is a topic which you must understand and explore in the 4 years that you're going to be here. Okay? And this is integrated in our curriculum. In many modules, you will find sustainability as a core mandate, a core requirement for that module. So that is one aspect which we have to understand. Interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity is basically trying to join hands with the other person and work together. Very simple. Okay, my discipline, your discipline, we're not away from each other so far that we can't connect. We want to work together. So that's very, very essential and important. So at Pearl, and I think in any design institution in today's time, who are really looking forward in a progressive way, you will realize that you will get opportunities to work with each other. Okay, a product designer working with an interior designer, working with a graphic designer, working with a website designer, working with a textile designer, and so on. And that's the real life scenario from a very long time, not right now. Okay, it has always been like that. Designers must and have to work together, not in isolation, not in only doing something which is self-satisfactory, but doing something which really makes a good value for somebody, not one person, but a group of people who are really in need of something like that. Okay? So this is the pathway that we also encourage all our students to go to, is create collaborations with each other. And there are modules, there are places where students can interact with other students and work together on a larger project. And we also have opportunities to do interdisciplinary modules with international institutions, from colleges which are maybe in Europe, in US, and collaborate with them to work on projects. So these are opportunities definitely you will get in the 4 years that you are going to be part of here. Innovation is something which Sandhya did speak about, so I'm not going to emphasize too much on it. But that is, of course, the core skill of a designer, is to be able to innovate constantly, not in only a very large project, but also in very small ways of how you do even a small aspect of the project. Okay, how you make your small project report, even in that, or how you probably write a small paragraph on your project, even in that, in every detail. If you are going to innovate, if you start innovating, if you start going beyond something, it will really add a lot of value to you. And that's one more thing that we really try hard to inculcate in our students, that at every stage of your learning you should continue innovating and challenging yourself. So broadly, this is what I wanted to share with all of you. And thank you so much. I hope this makes some sense going ahead. So I'll probably pass it on to Yash or Kalyani, whoever, whichever one you want to continue.
Thanks, Kunal. That was a very wonderful insight on how the current design trend is going on. Just to add on what Kunal has been saying, okay, so the design institute should also fall in line with the current times and trends. Okay, and we at Pearl, we have something called as game design and UI UX design under the part of communication design. So I take a game design at Pearl, and it is in line with what Kunal has been saying, and going about with the modern technologies and all. So game design may sound a bit misnomer, but it involves a lot of theory, philosophies with regards to understanding human behavior and a lot of stuff. So that's the whole crux about the design aspect as such. And as we move forward, we have augmented reality and virtual reality as a part of the course. So that is again in line with the current times and trends. If you look at major of the companies, marketing companies, or app-based companies, they give solutions or ready-made software solutions where you are required to come up with an AR-based marketing campaign or VR campaign, or it could be simply just be games. So this is how the future looks like. And then I'm sure you're aware of holographic projections and various other new media techniques. So whenever you're looking for a design institute, make sure you look at the way how it is moving along times and trends, and also its inclination towards the at the end of the day, what really matters is also your placements. So like in Pearl, we give 5 years placement assistance, and various 100% placement at School of Design or any other branches. But how well industry connect is there, the industry internship opportunities, how well you're getting to do live projects. So all this really matters, because this not only enhances your experience altogether, but it also enhances your portfolio. At the end of the day, what really matters is how good your portfolio looks and how well you are able to present your case to the company. Okay. As far as I know, more than my mark sheet, more than my degrees or anything, what has really mattered is my portfolio. Okay, so the institute should be the one that is inclined towards a good quality of work, how well they're able to scaffold you, how well they're able to guide you through different challenges, and as well as take or make you realize that failures are nothing but stepping stones to success. So this is what, all in all, what a good design institute should be. And again, coming back to game design, this is a wonderful arena where you can explore the upcoming opportunities, and there are various it's still an unorganized market, and unorganized markets are always like a gold mine. So you can always jump in, you can be entrepreneur, you can be be a part of an indie developer and all. And coming back to entrepreneurship, the institute should also be able to support your entrepreneurial ventures. They should be able to help you incubate your own startup in case you plan to have your own firm or your own company in the later stage. So make sure you take decision in a manner that encompasses all these aspects. So I would like to now hand over to Kalyani, and she may throw some light on UI UX and possibly the other aspects of design institutes. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, Yash. It was wonderful hearing to all of you. Hello, everyone. This is Kalyani this side. I'm a faculty for communication design. My expertise is UI UX. I'm also a senior UX CX designer. So I used to work for industry before. I worked in product and ID-based companies. So yeah, I would like to give you a limelight on the industry aspects and how you can correlate or connect design education that has been provided by different schools and how you can be well prepared for the industry market. Right. So whenever you are looking forward for companies or when you are applying for the companies, people look into your skill set. So what are the different types of digital tools that you are aware of? And are your methods or processes that you are applying does it have user-centric approach? Are you able to empathize with your users? Are you able to define a problem statement well, or are you able to holistically look throughout the concept of that specific design and find out gap areas? So this is where we come from. So when talking about Pearl or other design schools, we teach you to apply the ideation process through different research methods. We will help you to understand the gap areas or the loopholes in an ecosystem of product, and then find out a desirable or deliverable outcomes that is very important for that specific set of designs. So there are a lot of YouTube tutorials or Coursera courses that is online where you can learn digital tools, and you can learn Figma or Adobe XD or the complete Adobe suite and create something. But the question over here is, when you know that tool, how do you apply and how do you create a user interface design? So anybody can learn any specific tool online, but the question is how well can you apply it and how well you can create a digital tool, right? Or a digital product or a digital design. So Kunal was talking about AR, VR. Yash was talking about AR, VR. So the platform that we are talking and interacting with each other right now, Zoom, is a SaaS platform. So we have an interface over here where you can type a text and people can reply to your text. That is an interface. And people can hear your voice properly and they can see your face. So that is a user experience. So that is UI UX for your people in a gist. So whenever you're trying to create physical interactive devices or designs, it is very important that you create something that is really helpful and that is necessary for the social aspect or the social environment that you are living within. So until and unless you don't empathize with the focus group or the user group, you can't create a design. So that is where the design schools will play a vital role, where they provide you the design education, which is very important to make you more iterative, to make you explore designs and create longitudinal design concepts, because design is a longitudinal process. It doesn't have an end. So whenever you try to iterate or create or explore a set of designs, there is a chances of refinement that happens at every end. When you take the feedback from the users, you come back and then you put in the inputs and then do the changes, right? So you need to understand the research methods, you need to understand the processes, you need to understand what and how well you can compile something in terms of design. That is very important for this present world and for the future world. Also, when you talk about working in a company or being an entrepreneur, if you want to be an entrepreneur, it is very important that you understand the importance of brand identity or the product that you're going to develop or design or that you're going to place into the market. Also, you need to also have a good understanding of professional ethics or the ethical concepts that you're going to apply when you're working within a company, because you're not going to work within one specific team. Cross-functionally, you have to work with developers, with marketing team, with content team, then also present your designs and get reviews from your stakeholders. So if you have to have a good understanding of how well you can design and then deliver designs which are very important for the specific company, you also need to understand how well can your communication skills and your visual skills will play a vital role, right? So when you're creating something at the end, that specific design will talk in terms of visual aspects, like how well will it look at the end? Will it look in a JPG format? Will it look in a video format, or is it like a complete storyboarding, or is it done on specific tool that you're representing in that way? So you have to think through about all these things. Until and unless you don't have a clear idea of this, you will not be, or you may not be selected by a set of companies, or you can't go ahead and have your own company or your own digital product or a product that you want to launch into the market. Other than this, I would also like to tell you that nowadays people get overwhelmed and they don't understand what is IPR or infringement rights. So you can take anything and download anything from the open source, from the Google platform. But when you're downloading it, you need to also acknowledge the fact that you're taking or plagiarizing something from other designer. So you're trying to iterate it, or if you have to create any other design of it, you need to know the importance of patent and copyrights. So design schools will actually teach you that what is the importance of you creating a replication or a duplication of a copy. And if you're going beyond that, how well you can create something that is completely new rather than duplicating or replicating something. So your ideas play a vital role in that, and then how well you can go ahead with it. I guess, yeah, that's about it.
All right. So all of y'all are done with your discussions, right? All right. Just 1 second.
I think we can take questions now if there are specific questions.
Yes. In case there are any questions from anyone, I think there was a very insightful discussion, and very one is an insightful discussion, second very comprehensive discussion on how you'll have covered all the aspects. So very interesting, and thank you to all of you for doing that discussion. If anyone is over here would like to ask questions, please do right now, and we can take it from there. All right. Um, right. Um, so one of the things that particularly interested me when Sandhya was speaking is the power of networking, right? Within your to create that network, to create that entire um, platform for yourself. See, by the end of the 4 years, they need to really get into industry and they need to start off well. How strong is that power of networking when it comes to these students? What should they be doing, both with the industry as well as their own batchmates?
I think so. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. So I think there are, of course, like you put it, it's a two-pronged system. One is, of course, through placements and internships, and do as much as possible to kind of get in touch with people who are already well established in your field. If you're in interior design, you better know the names of all the famous interior decorators, or all the everything to do with interior design, and all the people who are pioneers in that field, both in India and abroad. You have to do your homework. One is that. The second prong of this is, of course, through getting in touch with your own peers. Please interact with your seniors, interact well with your faculty, interact build a huge network as much as possible. Your networking skills are always, be polite, be always on point with everything. Every time there is a, small, like this itself is one example, DQ lab is one. Any seminar, any webinar, any kind of special, there are workshops organized by most colleges everywhere wherein there is extra input given. I would really suggest that you guys go in for those extra inputs, because it really makes the difference between over the line and below before the line, you know. So networking, definitely, I think as a student, uh, when we were students, I think we did not have as many opportunities as you guys uh, have today in today's world. If you had to network or meet a professor or something, you had to call him, write an email, and wait for his reply, which may or may not come. But in today's day and age, you guys can actually just reach out on Instagram, or they will probably be around. Your faculty may know that person, and he probably give you his phone number or a contact link. So it's definitely technology and communication are much better today. So I think you guys should definitely take 100% advantage of that.
All right. Thanks so much, Sandhya. I was muted. I muted myself, um, yeah, but absolutely important critical points you just mentioned over there, and hope that the students here do take cognizance of that. Is very important. Um, all of these points mentioned here. Kunal, if you can share that slide where you had the four pillars, that was a very interesting slide. Yeah, and
Give me 1 minute.
yeah.
I'll just switch it back on.
Sure. In the meantime, to to the rest of us here, um, what is it that you've seen students? Sometimes as faculty, you all know students are going, wrong or not taking advantage or not leveraging the platform well. What are the areas that you think are very critical? Maybe one or two areas that are extremely critical, which a lot of students, don't really leverage on, if you all had to choose probably one or two?
I would rather choose versatility. See, the design is all about fluidity, flexibility, working in any condition, any given demand. So what usually happens is, let's say, for example, if I'm choosing game design or I'm choosing product design, we become hard and fast of sticking to it. You need to be like a chameleon where you are able to adjust according to your environment. Even when you're in design institute or you're learning in a design college, you need to be open to other stuff. You need to be experimental. You need to be able to try out new things. Okay, let there be failures. Fail once, fail twice, and then you learn from it. And that is what these days we generally see we are missing. People are afraid to make mistakes. So I would encourage the young designers or the young aspirants to make more and more mistakes, learn from it, be versatile. If you are a product designer, you cannot say I will not do graphics. You should be able to do graphics. And that these are all aspects are basically anyways covered in a peer learning, as well as networking through other collaboration efforts and various other projects that come into play. So what I would normally want to see in any young designer would be the versatility. You should be able to adapt to the company's needs and requirements as well.
Thanks, Yash. That's very critical, very important, and thanks for bringing that up. Right. So Kunal, this slide I thought was a very beautiful slide in terms of, and very comprehensive. From the perspective you're talking, and sustainability. You mentioned that like fashion design is the second most polluting industry after oil. There was a very interesting fact that you mentioned, and really how important is sustainability when it comes to fashion? Number one. Number two, there are new areas of design like let's say fashion design. I hear a lot about people getting into sustainable fashion. What does that mean?
Yeah, correct. Uh, I will try to just give me 1 minute. I don't know if you can see a different slide right now. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
it's available. It's
I wanted to
visible.
switch over. I wanted to switch over to this slide because I wanted to show some figures. So This is actually quite an old figure, and if you look at the entire consumption of clothing that we have in the current time, this is not even current, this is probably few years old now. So I'm sure it is going to be close to 100 billion pieces of clothing. I'm only talking about clothing. This is not counting in any other kind of products. Only clothing is going to touch 100 billion pieces every year, annually, right? So the kind of growth that is happening is enormous. I mean, this is of course building a great potential for more students taking up fashion or more students coming into design as part of the profession. However, the flip side of this is that there is also that much of uh, unwanted product which is created. Okay? That much of products which is created which is not used, or even if it is used, it is discarded after a very short period of time. And the growth of this industry only is the downfall of this industry. It's a very interesting kind of a situation. The more the fashion industry grows, the worse it is going to become. Okay, because we produce fashion not only with not only with natural textiles, but we produce fashion clothing with a lot of man-made textiles, which is essentially coming out of plastic. Okay, any sort of polyester or metallic or something like that, which is not destructible, not kind of biodegradable in nature. So a lot of clothing, I wish I could show you some other slide. You should probably look at the amount of plastic garbage, both the clothing and everything else counted together, which goes into the ocean. Okay, by the year 2030, 1/3 of the world's ocean is going to be covered by garbage, which is quite a shocking figure right now. Okay, by 2030, which is not very far away, we are sitting in 2021, 9 years later only. If we do not stop it, if we do not put an end to it, currently the amount of garbage which is floating on the ocean is as large as 3 times of France put together. Okay, so if you look at something called the Great Pacific Patch, if you should look up this, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It is actually like a huge continent which is floating on the ocean, which is essentially plastic and just floating on the ocean basically. So the situation is quite alarming, and the situation is more alarming than the current pandemic. And very unfortunately, the current pandemic is actually producing even more garbage by making the PPE suits and the masks and the face shields and plastic containers of each of all of these things, all of it put together is going to become a disastrous condition. I mean, it's not for no reason Greta Thunberg is like shouting at everyone, right? I mean, it is actually really, really alarming. And considering that, fashion is, fashion is the second largest polluting industry, it is actually going to stand equal to the oil industry in a very short time. And it is quite shameful because we are the ones who are creating the fashion industry. We are the ones who are part of the fashion industry. And fashion industry is not only clothing, it is also footwear, it is also accessories, it is also multiple other things, bags and luggage and everything put together. So a lot of product design, a lot of textile design, a lot of fashion design, it's put together, it's a whole bunch of different things put together, which is being branded only as the fashion industry, but it's not only the fashion industry. Okay, so what do we do with footwear? What do we do with it? Do we use it for anything else? We don't use it for anything else, right? We usually discard it. And if we go on discarding things, it will eventually land up in a landfill or a waste or some sort of a natural space, and it will not decompose, right? So therefore, sustainability, how we are defining sustainability is to be able to manage this. I'm not saying that we should completely stop using anything. I'm not saying we should stop producing fashion. That's not the way forward, because we do need clothes. Okay, not only for our psychological satisfaction, but also for various other requirements, for seasonal changes, for people who are in a different lifestyle, different kind of age, everything put together, we definitely need fashion. But how do we create fashion responsibly is one important aspect, which is going to talk about sustainability. Sustainability is not only to do with fashion, although it's a very generic term. It means to be able to sustain something. So if we have to sustain the fashion industry, if we have to sustain the environment, we have to strike a balance between both of them. And that is what sustainability in the context of fashion is today. And it is going to become more and more important. Why? I actually show this presentation and these kind of slides at every session that I go to and talk to young students. Okay, even before they come into the profession, it's not discouraging them that this is a wrong industry. No, it's not a wrong industry. This is the industry which needs the young professionals to come in with a changed mindset and to really make a difference. That's the whole idea. Okay, it's not to tell them that, oh, this is a polluting industry. Every industry is a polluting industry, but this industry is really requiring young minds to get in. Oil industry is a very different sort of an industry, right? Youngsters may not be able to make a difference there because it's to do with policies and laws and so on. Okay? It's to do with more of the country's economy. Here, this is where we can make a difference. This is where we can really create a difference, being just an individual designer in the industry. Okay? Making some real correct decisions. Okay? Making some changes in our design so that the world is not as much affected. So, and that's the reason we talk about sustainability a lot in the context of fashion today. Okay? And like, I mean, this is not the only figures. I mean, these are all things which are available on the internet very freely. And if you look at some of these figures, these are quite shocking numbers that you get right now. You know, like for example, one T-shirt consumes about, or even like that one denim consumes about that amount of water which you can drink for a period of 3 years. Okay, so you will eventually, I mean, we don't want to, but we might end up eventually in a situation where I have to choose whether I want water to drink or I want another fancy T-shirt or a jeans to wear, right? So if we can sensitize, if we can build that sort of understanding with designers right now today, they will understand and they will change the industry in a better way, so that we can also wear that T-shirt, we can also have a good clothes, and we can also drink water at the same time, not having to make a choice between both of them, right? So that's the context of sustainability and the fashion industry. I mean, it's not only limited to fashion industry, but if you really look at some of the figures, it's amazing. It's unbelievable that something like this is happening right now. This is way before pandemic, guys. This is nothing to do with pandemic. COVID in front of probably the environmental destruction human beings are causing is nothing. It's curable, right? We already have vaccines and we are taking it. So this is not curable unless we really, all of us put together, like really kind of get into it. So yeah, so I mean, I hope that some part of your question I could answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a very interesting perspective, and I guess what I draw from that is that these are areas of opportunity for us students. I mean, in the
Yes.
context of today's conversation, um, there is tremendous potential for a student to work in these areas, and that's what you were
Yeah.
mentioning earlier. They need to be invited and really sensitized, and they're the ones who can actually make a difference. So that's a beautiful point that you made.
Absolutely. They're the ones who will create this future. Okay. I mean, this is the future that we are currently anticipating and we are being afraid of it. But they're the ones who will change this future. This will not be the same slide maybe 15, 20 years down the line. Okay. And that's very important. For students, I sometimes suggest this two films, which I sometimes tell, please see this. This is both sides of the fashion industry. One is fictional. The one on the left is like basically a novel and a movie created out of it. It's a pretty old movie, but it's a popular film. And the one on the right hand side is a rather newer film. It's a documentary, and it gives very balanced sort of understanding of what happens inside the fashion industry and what happens on both sides of the fashion industry. You know, and I'm sure these films are available on some OTT platforms probably. I have definitely seen the true cost being available on YouTube quite a bit. So, I mean, I would really request the students, if they really want to understand the differences of this, they should go and see it, certainly.
True. And when you mentioned earlier that it's not, I think I'm not sure who mentioned this, but one of you all mentioned that don't just stick to, if you're doing fashion design, don't just stick to fashion design. Learn about other things as well. Now, for example, if we are talking about sustainability and in fashion, probably another thing would help is probably a David Attenborough show on the environment, right, to understand the environmental impact. So I guess that thing contributes as well. So that general knowledge and awareness is critical as well. And like you're saying, even these movies would probably help get a better understanding.
Very, very important. And the interesting part is the person who has made True Cost has no connection with the fashion industry.
Okay.
It's completely from a third person's perspective. And it's very interesting. It's very insightful to look at that. And what is fashion? What was fashion primarily? And how is fashion changing the whole face of the planet? So, yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. All right. Right. So we're coming towards the end of this session. It was a beautiful session, but Rachel Jobson, um, since I think as Pearl Academy is doing this, you'd like to speak a little bit about your next round of applications. If you can give us a few details on that.
Sure. Thank you, Dion. Well, students, if you're still keen to join us, because we'll be starting with the 2021 batch by 1st of September, our campuses are open now on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. So with a prior appointment, you can visit our campus. And we have our next entrance exam of Pearl Academy happening on 10th of August. The application forms are available, so please fill it up. And you can apply for Who's Next Scholarship also before 5th of August. And yes, you will have an online interview also after the entrance exam. And if you're shortlisted and selected, you can be part of the last few remaining seats of this 2021 batch. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me.
Fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll just share this link. So those of you all who have access to DQ Edge, you can come to DQ Edge under Explore Colleges. You will find this particular application link. You can click on that link to apply. I'm also going to be sharing the application link in the chat window, or when we upload this on YouTube. I'm going to put this in the YouTube recording description as well. I'm also going to share this URL. All right. So fantastic. If anyone has questions, you all can ask it right away, or you all could come here and get the information that you require, and you all can reach out to Pearl Academy. Rachel, if you can share your number as well, so we can put that on the description of the YouTube video as well. So for those who have missed this, we will also upload this on YouTube. So please look out for that and share the details. So in case you have any, you could share the details and the recording with your friends. But in case you need to reach out to Rachel directly, she will help you out with the application process, and also any questions that you have. So it's on 74280 88561. That's the number you can get her at. All right. So it's almost time. So I probably ending this session now, but thank you so much for taking the time out and having such a beautiful session. It was very insightful. I learned tremendous from this. Um, and I hope that everyone here learned from it too. So thank you, Sandhya, Kunal, Kalyani, Rachel, Yash, and most importantly, Lakshmikant Reddy, who made this happen. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Dion. It was my pleasure, and I seriously wanted to thank you all my faculties who took the time and taken this session. It was really very informative and very insightful. Thank you so much for everyone. Okay, and thanks a lot, Mr. Dion.
All right, all right. Okay, we'll be ending this now.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.